Okay, we're going to work on the Easter project. And the Easter project comes with some files, and those are a zip file that I provided to you. Inside that zip file, we have the content and the finished product and an images file. And inside the images file, we have 3 images that go along with this project. The Easter content file I'm providing to you for this project. For your client website, you must create that content yourself, and you're going to start doing that on week 3. And then week 3, week 4, week 5, you'll be creating more content, and then you should have all the content to finish up your website at the end. You're going to see that having this content file done makes your life a lot easier, and that's one of the reasons why I push to have you finish your content way before you're ready to start doing your project. So if I right mouse click on this PNG file and open it with Paint, just to make it easy, this is exactly what we're going to be creating. So if we're going to create this type of file, and of course you won't have a picture of what your client website is, but you can even draw that on a piece of paper to try to figure out what it is that you want it to look like. All right, so what do we have on here? So the first thing we have to do is build our HTML. And we can see that we have this background back here. That's going to be the body. And then we have all our content, all our HTML inside this box here. We're going to call that main. And then we have this part up on top, and that's going to be our header. That's going to have 2 figure tags, an H1 and a paragraph tag. Then we're going to have a nav section, and that nav section is going to be an unordered list with a bunch of list items, each one of these links being a list item. Then we have this section area down here. This section is going to have an H1 and then, or an H2. And then it's going down here. It's going to have these 3 sections here, each with a poem in it. The poem I provided. Up here, we're going to have another, maybe an H3. And then down here, we're just going to have a list of a bunch of paragraphs. And then at the very bottom, we're going to have our footer, and the footer is going to have, looks like an H3. And then we're going to have a iframe that's going to pull this video in from YouTube. All right, so we need to get started on it. So the first thing we're going to do is open up Sublime Text. So I'll go to Sublime Text and then double click on sublimetext.exe, and that will open it up for us. And you can see I have a project already open, so I'm going to right mouse click and remove that project. So this is how Sublime Text looks when you first open it up. What we need to do is we want to go ahead and attach a project to it. So if I go back in here, we have this Easter start. And in fact, let's just go ahead and I'm going to change Easter start to Easter spring underscore 2020. Whenever you're doing web development, everything is going to be all lowercase, no spaces, everything. Now this folder here won't make a difference. This is not going up on the server. But just to get into the habit of it, all lowercase, no spaces for everything. As soon as you make an uppercase or you leave a space, you're going to have problems when we move this over to FreeHostia and it's on a Linux host. All right, so this right now is going to be my project folder. So I'm going to take this. Where is it? No, I'm not going to rename it. I'm going to take it now. Here's Sublime Text back here. And I'm just going to drag it to Sublime Text. Boom. And all I've done now is I've linked that folder with Sublime Text. And there's all my resources ready to go. All right, so now I'm ready to go ahead and start building. So we're going to need two files right away. We're going to need the page itself, and we're also going to need a CSS file for our styles. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here where we see Easter 2020, and I'm going to right mouse click on that folder and tell it I want a new file. By doing it that way, I've linked this new file with the Easter Spring 2020 folder so everything stays where I can find it. Now, this is going to be my HTML file, and it says untitled, which means they don't know what I want to do with it. I can make it a text file, I can make a CSS file, a PHP, it doesn't know. So I need to go ahead and save it first as an HTML file so I can start using that. So I'm just going to click on File and Save. It's going to come up and it's going to show me that it's going to be inside my Easter 220, which is where I want it. Now, there's only one page to this website, so we have to call it index.html. Remember that. Our home page, and if it's in only one page, then that page has to be called index.html, not Easter HTML or home HTML. It has to be called index because when we put it up on Freehostia will not know that this is the page we want to show people without a specific address or a file name, unless it's called index.html. All right, so now we need to start writing some HTML. So I'm going to move this over to here, move this over if I can. Because I need that much space. And then I have, here is my picture. So I'm going to put this over here. Because what we're going to do is we're going to now write the HTML to describe all the elements on this page. And we're going to start out by just typing HTML and then tab. And it's going to give us the basic parts of our page. And that is a head section, the doc type HTML. So doc type HTML seems we were using HTML5. And then the first container we have is an HTML container. Inside that is our head and our body. So the first thing we're going to do with our head is we're going to be writing some meta tags. And if I just type META and tab, it's going to tell me that it's going to use the UTF-8 character set, and that character set is using 8-bit Unicode. So Unicode has every character, or 64,536 characters of every character known to man in the world. But we only need a piece of it because the English that we're going to be using is in the first bit. So we're going to use UTF-8 just so it doesn't have to load the entire 3 bytes of Unicode. All right. So, and then we have our title. So this title is simply going to be Celebrating Easter. Celebrating Easter. Okay, and then we have another meta tag. Well, we can't use meta again. It's just going to put that char set UTF. So we're going to have to use HTML. So less than symbol, meta. And this next one is going to have a name. And that's going to be equal to description. And then we're going to have content. And you see it now, it finished everything for me. So in this content, I'm going to have to put what this page is about. So I'm just going to put, well, before I get started, let me take a look at my Easter content. And look, I already have it here. So I have the description already up top here. So I'm going to copy this and paste that into my description. Nice. So the more you do ahead of time, the easier it is. You don't have to start thinking about this as you're building. Every page is going to have a unique description, and that's for Google. The next thing we want to do is we're going to add another meta tag. The name of this is going to equal viewport. And then the content is going to be with equals device dash with. Okay. What that tells it is that we're going to make this a responsive website. So we're going to actually programmatically or within our HTML CSS have it so that this page changes depending on the size of the screen, whether it's a 95-inch TV set or it's a 3-inch smartphone. Our content is going to be able to move around. If you leave that tag off and a person looks at it on their phone, it's going to automatically shrink it down, and they're going to have to use their fingers to pinch it and slide it around in order to be able to see everything. So we put that on there now because we're going to make this responsive, not initially, but eventually we're going to get around to making that totally responsive. So we need to keep that meta tag in there. Okay, then the last one we're going to do is we need to link this to our CSS page. So I'm going to say link, that's what I'm going to type, and then tab, and that's going to put all this stuff in there. And then I can get rid of this type equals, unfortunately that's no longer needed, but they keep putting it in there for Sublime Text. I thought the next time they updated this, they would have taken it out. And styles.css is going to be the name of our file. And then I'm going to copy this file name because that's the next thing I'm going to do is create it. Control C. And now I'm going to go back to my Easter folder here. Right mouse click. Tell I want a new file. There's my new file. And then I'm going to do File, Save. And now I'm going to paste in my styles.css and save. Okay, copying and pasting is our most accurate way, so those are your two best friends, and you want to use them as much as you can to make sure everything is linked up correctly. All right, we're almost out of time here, so let's just go ahead and put in, I'm going to put body, and then curly braces, and then press enter. I'm going to do background color, and you can see as I start typing background, it does IntelliSense. I want background color, and I'm going to put pink. Okay, that's not correct. We'll see that later, but for now, we just want to do File, Save. Well, save all, so it's going to save both the HTML and the CSS. Now, if I go into Windows Explorer and double click on here, you can see we have our index page. And if I right mouse click on this index.html, I want to tell it to open with Chrome because that's what I want to develop in. And bam, I got a pink background. And if you look up on top, move this up, you can see Celebrating Easter. That's the title that we placed on here, and we have a pink background. So if you don't have all this, things are not linked up correctly, and you need to go back and check the little bit of, if this is white, probably you didn't copy and paste your file name, or your CSS file is not in that folder. So those are the two things you can check on. All right, now when we come back, we will go ahead and build some more HTML.